Hey everyone, it's Sam here from Sugar's Fun Run, and today I'm showing you how to make an old-fashioned hot milk cake. A few weeks ago, I was lucky enough to get my grandmother's recipe for hot milk cake. Now, if you've never had this cake before, it is a dense vanilla cake covered with a fudgy chocolate frosting. It's super popular in my family. My grandmother used to make it every Sunday, and I think you're going to love it just as much as we do. Now, to get started, the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, you are going to need a large bowl, and you're going to need 4 large eggs. Generally, I like the eggs to be at room temperature before I begin. Now, next you're going to need an electric mixer, and we're just going to beat these eggs together for about 30 seconds to a minute until they're pale yellow and well beaten. Now we're going to add 2 cups of granulated sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're going to stir everything together again until all of our ingredients are well combined. Now in a separate bowl, you're going to want to stir together 2 cups of all-purpose flour along with 2 teaspoons of baking soda and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Stir your dry ingredients together until they're nicely combined. And you might want to use a slightly larger bowl than I'm using right here. I really should have thought about that first. Now grab your egg mixture, and we're going to gradually add our flour mixture into our egg mixture, and we're just going to stir by hand until everything's completely combined. Once your batter is nicely combined, you're going to want to grab a small saucepan, and let's head over to the stovetop where we're going to make our hot milk mixture. Combine 1 cup of whole milk and a 1/2 cup of butter in your saucepan. Now, I like to cut this into tablespoon-sized pieces. That way it just helps everything melt together more evenly and more quickly. Cook your milk and butter over medium-high heat until the butter is melted and the mixture comes to a boil. Then you're going to want to grab your hot milk, and we're going to gradually stir this in to the rest of our batter. And the batter is going to get pretty thin. That's completely fine. This milk mixture is hot, so make sure you don't splatter yourself with it while you're stirring everything together. When you have everything mixed together, it's time to bake your hot milk cake. Now, this recipe can be baked in either a 13x9 baking dish or in a bundt pan. I'm going to be using a 13x9 dish today. Whichever you use, make sure you either thoroughly grease and flour your baking dish or spray it with baking spray. Not cooking spray. If you're using a spray, it needs to be baking spray that has flour in it. Now let's take this over to our 350 degree Fahrenheit oven, where it's going to need to bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. Once your hot milk cake has finished baking, while it's cooling, we can go ahead and make our fudge icing. This is my favorite part of the hot milk cake. It's the reason my little sister even eats it at all. She's obsessed with it. So let's go ahead and make that. Now you're going to want to grab just a small saucepan, and we're going to head over to the stovetop. To your saucepan, you're going to add 1/3 cup of whole milk, 3 ounces of coarsely chopped unsweetened chocolate, and 4 tablespoons of either unsalted butter or shortening. My grandmother's original recipe calls for shortening, but if you guys have been following me for a while, you know I'm a butter kind of person. So we're using unsalted butter, and I've gone and cut this into 4 pieces. It's just going to help everything melt together a little faster. You'll want to stir everything together in your saucepan over low to medium-low heat. You want to stir pretty frequently until the butter and the chocolate are melted and your mixture is smooth. Once everything's melted together, you're going to remove your saucepan from the heat, and we're going to stir in a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're also going to be adding 2 cups of powdered sugar. Just stir this right in with your chocolate mixture. I like to use a whisk. It helps break up any clumps that might be in your sugar. So once you have everything nicely mixed together for your fudge frosting, you're just going to want to stir that periodically until it's cooled to a nice thick consistency. Now, if you made your hot milk cake in a bundt pan, you should have inverted it at this point or by this point, and you'll just want to carefully drizzle the chocolate frosting over the top of the bundt cake. Now, I made mine in a 9x13 pan. We're not going to be inverting this. I'm just going to spread or pour the chocolate fudge frosting evenly over the cake. Now ideally you want to let this fudge frosting finish firming up, say that 5 times fast, before you dig in. This has had a couple minutes to sit, the frosting is getting pretty solid, so I'm just going to go ahead and slice myself a piece. Now, if you have a little bit more patience than I do, your fudge frosting won't crack like that on top. This is just because mine's still a little bit warm. It hasn't solidified all the way, but it's still going to taste just as good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and dig into this. I wanna thank you so much for sticking with me through another sweet, simple, and from scratch recipe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Fudgy chocolate frosting, dense, tender vanilla cake. It's good. Hey, if you guys enjoyed today's hot milk cake recipe, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, if you enjoyed today's recipe video, here are a few others you might like as well.